Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ad Talk, the podcast where we break down the world of advertising one chapter at a time. I'm Delilah.
And I'm Courtney, and today we're going to be diving into chapter 15 of The Advertising Effect by Adam Ferrier. This chapter is all about how customer behavior is influenced by advertising, but not always in the way that we expect.
Exactly. Ferrier explores how advertising can have an effect that's more psychological and emotional than logical. And he introduces some pretty interesting ideas on how ads shape our behavior without us even realizing it.
Yeah, Ferrier talks about how advertising isn't just about selling products. It's about creating associations in our mind. These emotional connections can often be more powerful than the features of the product itself.
Absolutely. He touches on a key concept, the mirror exposure effect. It's the idea that the more we see something, the more we like it, even if we don't consciously realize it. So brands are really tapping into this idea by putting their ads in front of us consistently.
And that's why we end up feeling attached to brands with not knowing why. Think about Coca-Cola. How many times have you seen that brand in movies, on billboards, or even on your social media? It just becomes a part of our mental landscape, and suddenly we're associating Coca-Cola with like happiness or refreshment.
Right. And Ferrier takes it further by talking about the halo effect. This is when we apply our feelings about one attribute of something to the whole. So if you see an ad where a celebrity you like is drinking a Coke, you might associate that positive feeling with the product, even if you don't consciously realize it.
It's crazy how much advertising can shape our preferences. Just through these subtle connections, Ferrier also empathizes how ads work better than when they're tapped into our emotions rather than focusing purely on the logical side of things.
That's a huge point. He talks about how emotions drive decisions. For example, when we feel something, whether it's happiness, excitement, or even fear, our brains are more likely to make a purchase. Ads that revoke strong emotions are way more effective than those that just list features or stats.
And let's not forget about cognitive dissonance. This is when we hold two conflicting thoughts at the same time, which leads us to change our behavior and reduce the discomfort. Ads that target this can also push us to make decisions that align with how we want to feel, even if that's not entirely logic.
Yes, it's like those ads that show us how we could be living a better life, more successful, happier, cooler, if we just bought this product. They're tapping into our desire for self improvement and making us feel like we're missing out if we don't have it.
Ferrier also brings up the concept of framing. The way that the ad presents information, whether it's framing a loss or a gain, can make a huge difference on how we react to it. For example, if an ad shows you what you lose by not buying a product, it tends to be more persuasive than one that shows you what you will gain.
It's all about perception. It's not just what the ad says, but it's how it's framed that determines whether or not we'll take action. And Ferrier makes it clear that advertisers are always working to find that sweet spot where they can trigger our emotions and influence our decisions without us even realizing it.
I think one of the key takeaways from this chapter is how important it is for advertisers to understand the psychology behind customer behavior. They're not just selling products, they're selling feelings, perceptions, and experiences.
Totally. It's a reminder that we're all affected by advertising in ways we don't always notice. But once you're aware of these psychological tactics, you can start to see how much of an impact they have on the choices we make every day.
Exactly. And while this chapter focuses a lot on the power of emotional influence, Ferrier also stresses the importance of being ethical in advertising. It's crucial to recognize that advertisers have a responsibility to use their power wisely and not manipulate customers in harmful ways.
Yeah, that's an important point. At the end of the day, advertising can be a force for good when it's done responsibly. And it's all about balance, understanding how emotions play into decision making without taking advantage of people.
So true. All right, Delilah, let's wrap this up. What's your main takeaway from chapter 15?
For me, it's about how advertising shapes our behavior through emotional connections. We don't always know why we're drawn to certain products, but understanding the psychology behind these ads makes us more aware of how we're influenced.
Same here, and I'd add to that for advertisers, understanding the psychological effects is key to crafting more an effective way, ethical campaigns really resonate with people and connect with them on a deeper level than just normal ones.
Definitely. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
This is our last podcast.
Last